What's going on, guys? It's your boy the Markham Knight here. Today's video is going to be all the McFarlane toys that are coming out. I'm going to do my part 3 for a cop and drop. I just want to jump right into it because there are a whole bunch of toys that we have to get through. And I want to start with the Arkham Knight, which is kind of where I got my moniker from. I'm from Markham, and obviously the Arkham Knight was based on the video games. Now, this is a spoiler, but the Arkham Knight story is that he is actually Jason Todd, and in this universe, he has adopted the Arkham Knight as his nickname, and he goes out there and he kind of creates a lot of havoc for Bruce and for Batman, and basically he's upset with him. It's kind of similar to the Red Hood storyline, but basically he adopts the Arkham Knight as his name. As for the actual figure itself, it looks pretty good. It is missing some paint details, which a lot of the McFarlane toys tend to do. So if you are willing to paint some of the stuff yourself, some of the blue is missing on it and stuff like that. But if you don't have another Arkham Knight, or you just need to fit it in to this scale, you can do that. It definitely does not come with any guns or anything, because DC has a gun ban. So this one for me is a drop. I will miss this one, because I do have the amazing Yamaguchi one, and to me that one is significantly better. Now let's move on to the Green Arrow, and this is the Injustice 2 Green Arrow. Now this looks close enough to the source material that you can just plug him right in and keep him as a part of your Justice League, kinda as a placeholder until they do a more comic accurate Green Arrow, or if they do a different type of Green Arrow that you'd be into. This is the second Green Arrow we ever got. The first one was from the TV show, which I wasn't fond of that figure. It was literally one of the Wave 1 figures, but this one for me is a definite cop. I will definitely pick this guy up. He looks really, really good. Everything seems to be done well. I just hope one of those arrows can come out of there, because it'd be pretty cool to pose him like that. Next one that I'm gonna look at is Godspeed. Godspeed is, August Hart. He's basically one of the villains in The Flash. He kind of came out in the New 52 storyline, continued on in Rebirth. He is a very cool looking villain, and I thought after they did that white hot Flash thing, they are definitely going to do a Godspeed, and here we have it. He looks really, really good. He's an easy pickup for me. Let's move on to The Flash, and this is The Flash Season 7. I am not fond of The Flash TV show beyond maybe Season 4 or 5. I think it kind of tapered off and it hasn't been doing too well. I will definitely not get this figure. It is not for me. Grant Gustin's Flash is okay, but this figure is kind of meh, and you could kind of see the squiggles in his chest area. It doesn't look too good. His chest piece looks a little significantly large for the rest of his body. It's not for me. It's an easy pass. That is a drop. Let's move on to Duke Thomas. Duke Thomas, he was not in very much. I think he was in maybe one comic all of maybe the entire last year, and I don't really think they've done too much with him. He's an easy miss for me. I'm going to miss this one. Drop him for sure. For me personally, if you are a completist and you like to have everything Batman related, sure, go ahead and pick him up. Next we have the Batman Who Laughs as Batman. Again, this is kind of the infected type Batman, and he didn't really last too long in the comic books. They didn't really do too much with him before he adopted his new moniker as the Batman Who Laughs and continued on with that. He's another drop for me, although this does look like a really good sculpt, and I'm sure they're going to use a lot of it in the Hush one, in the Hush Batman that they're going to do in the future, but definite drop for me here. I don't need an infected Batman. For those of you who are big fans of the Death Metal storyline, again, another big pickup for you. Let's move on to the Joker Dragon. This looks awesome. It looks great. I am not necessarily doing anything with my Death Metal stuff, so I don't really need a Joker Dragon, but to me this is one of those things that if I'm in store and I see it and it looks as good as it looks here, I might grab it. So this one's a maybe for me. It's not a cop or a drop, just a maybe. Let's move on to Ultraman. They called this Superman of Earth 3, which technically he is, but his name is actually Ultraman. I'm guessing they're just trying to sell it a little better by putting it as Superman as Earth 3. But Ultraman is a easy pickup for me. He looks really, really good. Could have done without the heat vision eyes, but I'll take it. I'm not picky with that, because I could just paint it in, or if I want to, I could just keep it as is. But he looks really, really good, and he's done very close to comic accurate. Let's move on to Batman Zur-En-Arrh, and This is one of the easiest passes for me. Again, a great sculpt. Maybe they'll use some of that stuff in the future, maybe with a Hush Batman, but it's an easy pass for me. I have zero interest in a red, yellow, black, and purple Batman. So easy miss for me. Let's go on to Superman John Kent. Again with the heat vision eyes. I don't know why this version of Superman, who is John Kent, has heat vision eyes, because he is not necessarily an aggressive Superman. He hasn't shown any of that. He is quote unquote the woke Superman. It was a choice. It was definitely a choice. And his head does look a little big for his body, but that head would make a really good New 52 custom sculpt. So I might pick this up anyways, just because of the head, to use it for a New 52 that I potentially do, a New 52 Superman. But I think the body looks good. The body looks like if I had a different head on it, he would look perfect. And I have a lot of like Superman head sculpts and stuff like that I can toy with, and maybe some Superboy stuff I can toy with. So I'll see what kind of fits and play with it a little bit, but this is a definite comp for me, just because I can use the head for New 52 and the body is done pretty well. Let's move on to Grifter. Grifter looks really good here. Obviously, you still have the gun ban, so no guns for him, but his actual sculpt and everything that he has going on looks really, really good. So I think he's an easy cop for anyone who is a Grifter fan or is a fan of kind of completing that side of the DC universe in their storylines. Next you have Killer Croc, and this is a mega fig. It's going to be maybe 9-10 inches tall, and this is actually the one from the Arkham video game. Again, I do like a lot of the Arkham stuff, and I have a lot of the Arkham stuff, but I don't know if I'm going to pick this guy up. If he looks as good as he does here in person, I might have to grab him. So he's another maybe for me. It's just I'm not necessarily doing a specific Arkham line, but I could pose him with my Arkham Knight and kind of go from there. And I do also have the Batman Arkham Knight version, so we'll kind of see what I can do with those figures and stuff and just play with it a little bit. So I'm actually leaning more towards a cop for Killer Croc. He does look really, really good. That sculpt is unbelievable, and it looks like it hides a lot of the articulation pretty well. Now let's move on to Ghostmaker. Ghostmaker is probably my favorite looking of all the new McFarlane toys. He looks really, really, really good. I probably will pick him up 110%. He looks fantastic. Now, he hasn't been in the comics for too long. He came out just last year, and he's kind of in some current storylines, so I feel like maybe that's why they're going to bring him back in here. But he looks really good. He looks like he's done really well. I'm interested to see how that knee joint is going to move around, but he looks really good, and I will definitely pick him up, if for anything, just to have him look cool on my shelf. Let's move on to Man-Bat, another one of the figures that look really, really good and a little more comic accurate. This is not based on any video game version or anything like that. He looks really, really good, and if he's as tall and as big as he looks here, and all that articulation is hidden really, really well, the head doesn't look like it moves around too much, maybe just rotates and stuff. But like I said, if I see him in person, I think it'll be hard not to pick him up. So I do think he's a cop. Next, we move on to Anti-Crisis Wonder Woman. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, Anti-Crisis Wonder Woman was in the Death Metal storyline, and she was kind of the person who took on the Batman Who Laughs in his full Dr. Manhattan given powers form. I forgot what that version of him was called, but she took him on, and she was massive as well. So I don't know why they did necessarily a 7-inch version, and technically speaking, the saw wasn't supposed to be gold. The saw was supposed to be the regular saw color, and again, that's not too hard. I have that other one that I could kind of pose it with, so it wouldn't be too difficult to do that. I was just hoping for a mega fig version of this Wonder Woman. It seemed like it would be pretty easy to do, so this one is actually a drop for me because it just looks like a golden Wonder Woman, which is an easy pass for me. Let's move on to Reverse Flash, and this is also from Injustice 2. And I get a lot of people have shown a lot of hatred towards his look here, but that's kind of really similar to the Injustice 2 Reverse Flash, so I'm not mad at it. It's just I don't have an Injustice 2 collection in my collection personally, so I'm gonna pass on him. He is going to be another drop for me. Let's move on to Hush. Hush is one of my favorite Batman storylines, probably one of my favorite Batman stories of all time. Hush is a great character, Edward Elliot, and I'm not going to go into the details of his story, but I will say that the only reason that I'm going to pass on this are twofold. One, the gloves should not be purple. 2, I'm hoping for an open jacket version of Hush to be released with Batman, because there is a Batman Hush 2-pack that is coming out, and that is one that I will pick up for sure, because Batman Hush, Jim Lee's Batman in Hush was really well drawn, so I'm hoping they kind of take the best pieces of Batman and put it into that one. And then Hush, also in that 2-pack, I feel like he's going to have maybe the open raincoat instead of having the closed one. Again, no guns, obviously. DC gun ban. We can't really blame that on McFarlane. But yes, he does look good outside of the purple gloves here. Everything else looks pretty solid with him. Let's move on to Joker in Death of the Family. This is the Joker whose face was cut off and then he kind of stapled it back into his face. So to be completely honest, I wasn't a huge fan of Death of the Family, and this Joker look is my least favorite Joker look. It's not really for me, but he does look kind of cool. It's an easy pass for me. There are tons of Joker figures, and there'll be more Joker figures coming along, so I'm not really worried about that. And then finally, we have glow-in-the-dark Batman Beyond. I do think it's kind of cool that McFarlane is trying some new stuff with some glow-in-the-dark things that are going on here. However, I do not need a glow-in-the-dark Batman Beyond. I don't see the purpose of having a glow-in-the-dark Batman Beyond. I do have the regular Batman Beyond, the one that's not a part of the 4-pack, and I'm okay with that one. I don't need anything more out of it. I actually put Timothée Chalamet's head on top of it because for me that's a really cool look, and I feel like he'd make a really good actor for Batman Beyond if they ever were to pursue something like that in the future. But regardless, I don't need the glow-in-the-dark version, even though I do think it's pretty cool. Okay guys, so that's all of the stuff that's been announced so far that we have actually seen and got an image of. There is a whole bunch of other things coming along, so we're going to probably do a part 4 sometime maybe in a couple of months or something like that, with maybe another 10-15 new figures then. Anyways guys, you check this out. Do you have any favorites in this collection? Tell me what you're going to cop and drop. Let me know your thoughts.
This is the Markham Knight, and I need you to like, comment, and subscribe.